Today, we are honored to have Justice Vineet Saran with us, the personified version of fairness and equity with a wealth of experience in the Indian legal system. Justice Saran's illustrious career spans more than 4 decades, during which he has presided over countless high profile cases and earned a reputation not only as a fair and impartial judge, but also as a humble and generous human from the heart. From his early days as an advocate to his position on the bench of the Supreme Court of India, Justice Saran has always been a champion of justice and a defender of the rule of law. In this episode, we'll explore Justice Saran's journey to the top of the legal profession, his thoughts on the current state of the Indian judiciary, and his vision for the future of the legal system. So sit back, relax, and get ready for an enlightening conversation with one of the most respected legal minds of our time, Justice Vineet Saran. Good morning, sir.
Very good morning to you all. Lovely to have you all over here.
Thank you, sir. Yes. So I would like to pass the mic to Radhika to ask the first question.
So, sir, my first question is, behind every great judge, there is a story of passion and drive that led them to the bench. What is your story? What inspired you to become a judge?
Well, first one took up the legal profession and then thought of becoming a judge. As a lawyer, one has to do well and then think whether you'd be doing well in the profession, or would you like to switch over as a judge? And that, of course, is not the option of the lawyer. It is always when you're offered by the Chief Justice, then only can you think, yes, the age at which I was offered, that was one reason why I accepted judgeship. Of course, there are a lot of challenges as a lawyer and excitement of doing different cases. But then I thought on the other side of the bench, to be on the bench, it would definitely be a different kind of challenge. And maybe I thought, and it was right, that you could contribute more to the system than as a lawyer. I don't mean to undermine the position of a lawyer. Lawyers also contribute a lot and for the system. But maybe at that time I thought I have done enough as a lawyer. I can now.
Yes. So, like taking up the legal profession, was it your voluntary choice? Like, were you actually affectionate towards law that made you took up the path of a lawyer in the first place?
Yes, that's right. I mean, I had already decided to be a lawyer. I did not appear for any competitive examination, or didn't try for any other. Maybe there was a reason that my father was a senior counsel in Allahabad High Court, and I had two other brothers who did not want to, and I was the one who wanted to be a lawyer, and I did not attempt for any other side. And this is one advice which I'll give to all persons, all boys and girls who are wanting to join the profession, that if you wanting to join the profession, then close all other doors, then only come. Because if you are practicing as a lawyer and also thinking that I'll get into the judicial service or the IAS or any other thing, then you'll not be able to concentrate well in the profession. And profession needs 100% commitment. And unless you close all the doors, and only because initially you'll probably not be gaining much from the profession, in the sense experience you'll be gaining, but not much monetary gains. So that is quite discouraging in the beginning. So unless you close all the doors and come and take up this profession, you are less likely to succeed. This is what advice I'd give, that if you come in the profession, come wholeheartedly.
So I wanted to ask this question. We've been seeing many mediation cases over the court. So according to you, what it takes to be a successful mediator, like what are the traits and the qualities which are needed to be successful in?
Well, that's a Very good question, which is close to my heart. I always feel mediation is a sphere which is not being explored much by in
Indian
India.
judiciary.
And mediator has to be very compassionate and talk to both the parties separately instead of talking to them jointly, and then understand their problem and then let them meet and resolve the situation themselves, the conflict which they have themselves, with some suggestions. Mediator should never appear to be authoritative, because if you are authoritative and you say no, you must do like this and all, then mediation can never be successful. Mediation, you are just a facilitator. As a mediator, you cannot impose yourself. And probably as a judge, if you are a mediator, then the authority automatically comes. So lawyers are better to be trained as mediators, and who can they have been very successful lawyer mediators that I have seen in Allahabad. We have, and of course, training is very important in that. You have to be very patient, and you can only give suggestions, not say that this is the way it should be done. Mediatorly, that is the most important thing.
Okay, sir. So, in your opinion, what steps can be taken to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the Indian judiciary?
Indian judiciary.
Yes, sir.
That's a very, very vast question. It's very.
Also, it could be rephrased as in like, what are the other judicial systems around the world which Indian judiciary should adopt, or like what is the
You
good
can't say
quality?
that, but you asked about mediation. That is one thing. Pre-litigation mediation is something which we should try and explore, because especially in cases where the dispute is between individuals.
Yes.
I mean, corporate disputes cannot be, they can be, but difficult to resolve. But between two individuals, that one should make an attempt before going to the courts. That is one thing. The law provides it, but it's not being implemented. That is necessary. And of course, the judge population ratio in the country is very low. So obviously, if you see judges work a lot, but still their pendency, that's because the cases which are being filed are much more than what the judges can decide. And another thing, the government should see the impact of any new law which comes, that how many cases are likely to be, and correspondingly the number of judges should also be increased for that. Like these Negotiable Instrument Act cases, all of a sudden there was a flood of these cases, but judges remained the same. So that is also a reason that the impact of new legislation which comes should also be considered.
तो पास टू जो चीफ जस्टिसेस थे उनके अंदर आई बिलीव हुआ है काफी एलिमिनेशन का रेट लाइक बढ़ा है पिछले में तो लाइक आई थिंक हम कह सकते हैं कि इंडियन जुडिशरी इज ऑन द राइट ट्रैक बिकॉज़ कंटिन्यूअसली लाइक पेंडेंसी के लिए भी जजेस की नंबर भी इंक्रीज हो ही रहा है.
No, that's right.
So-
That's right.
so we can say
We
that-
are on the right track. I mean, always there's scope for improvement, and one has to keep exploring. And these are things which the experts who have studied this, they only should venture. Like giving suggestions offhand like this may not be a very proper thing, for me at least.
अच्छा सर मेजॉरिटी ऑफ आवर व्यूअर्स जो हैं दे आर स्टूडेंट्स.
Right?
ठीक है अब मैं हूं ना सर मैं याद बात नहीं कर पाता मैं बहुत मैं लाइक
हाँ.
मैं एग्जाम से पहले पढ़ के चल जाता हूं तो मैंने लाइक काफी सुना है कि जज बनने के बाद अब वो सारे सेक्शन सारे आर्टिकल्स दे शुड बी ऑन योर फिंगर टिप्स. तो क्या सर ये असल में ऐसा होता है कि मैं बहुत
Absolutely wrong. Judges should know the overall. I mean, it's overall concept of law, but it's not necessary which section says what. You always have the book in your in front of you. I've always yes, but the general concept you should be knowing. Which section says what? Of course, important sections you should be knowing, but it's not necessary. You always have the BER Act and other books which you can consult. I mean,
Big release.
judge is not supposed to be memorizing everything. And if you do it, it's all right. You'll save a little bit of time by not looking to the books that way.
I would like to, ask the next question. I believe that is on everyone's mind. That what are the 5 things that us as law students that we should not do in law school?
That's a negative. That's a negative question that you are asking. All right, don't roam around much. Don't waste time. All that. I mean, that.
In terms of the professional field, like
Some
Like what mistakes can be avoided?
exactly.
I mean, I can tell you what you should be actually doing, which should be right. I mean, this is. It appears that you all are very serious students who are doing. Like you can write articles. You can do some research. You can, of course. I mean, as an intern, I suggest that you should intern in various places which gives you different kind of experience. Because what happens is, as a student, you might think, yes, I'll only practice on constitutional law because that's something which is very attractive. But unless you have the experience of working in various chambers of criminal law lawyers doing criminal work, civil work, constitutional work, and income tax and all, then only will you be able to gauge as to what exactly you should be doing. So you should keep your mind open. I mean, as a young boy, if you ask somebody, what are you going to do? He'll say, I'll go to the army. Right? That's very attractive. So, as a lawyer, what are you intending to do? Constitutional law. Constitutional law is very good, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't go in for that. But have the experience of all kinds. Do research. Research, I don't mean have the experience of attending chambers and law firms which are dealing with all different kinds of work, and then only decide. I mean, also attend the court proceedings, and maybe some people are attracted to be want to be litigating and go into litigation. Some may want to join a law firm and do work. So unless you have the experience of both or all kinds, you won't be able to take a final decision.
Absolutely, sir.
Sir, as a student, we get confused that we should continue as a professional lawyer, or we should go for judiciary, or we should join a corporate firm or something like that. Sir, what are the basic, the things we should look out in ourselves that will make us, choose the right path or make us set the path for ourselves?
Well, if you go in for litigation, there's some risk. You might be successful, you will not be successful. If you're going and joining the judiciary after your LLB degree, then it's a safe thing. You know how what is the ladder that you're going to climb.
Yes, sir.
So that I mean, it depends on a person who wants to, whether one wants to take the risk or not. The background also, if you have a family background of in judiciary, then probably you'd be more attracted to go into litigation. And, like some people want to, some students like young children, they want to go in for corporate firms. You join a law firm. That's also quite. I mean, it's a personal choice. You have to take a decision whether you'll be able to take the risk or you'll not like to take the risk.
So, speaking of research, I just wanted to ask you, you must read many case files, preparing for your next day. So, as a law student, how do I read judgments effectively? Because if you think about judgment is for a law student, it's very tough and it's very one day pick off after 2 pages. So, how do you keep that consistency? Read 10, 20, 30, and even 100 pages of judgment?
Well, I am not the one who's a supporter of writing very long judgments. I've never written 200 pages, 300 pages judgment, even in important cases, because you can be very. It's if the judgments were going very long, then what I would do is that leave it and then revive the art of précis writing, which we used to be taught in school. Condense it. Anyway, the question which you are asking is that how you
How do you read
read judgments. Well, important judgments you have to read from first line to the last line, because to understand it, to understand it properly, the crux. Of course, as later on as lawyers, you can get to, when you are experienced lawyer, you can get to the right passage which you want to show, because like I'm sure lawyers would be having interns and people to assist who read the judgment and tell that this is the main point. Once you get to the main paragraph, you also understand what is, but you have to definitely read the facts first in the initial, because unless you are clear about the facts of the case, which may be in 10% of the initial pages, that you will not be able to understand what law has been laid down. Law is always laid down in the context of the particular facts. So you have to initially you will have to read the judgments and then analyze which judge writes good judgments and which doesn't. That of course, but you will have to.
Ajay, so what would you pen down in a judge's guide to stay through public scrutiny and political pressure?
Sorry.
What I mean by that is, like, there must be a lot of political pressure on judges, right? So,
You're presuming that there are political pressures.
I mean, I
If
must
not-
assume, because there's always like political cases, like,
Political cases deciding is different and political pressure is different.
yeah, agreed. I mean, independence of the judiciary has always been a, like,
And that of course is a debatable thing. That people say that there's politicians put pressure for, that's what you're wanting.
What would be a judge's guide to that, to stay through that?
To ignore, if there's any pressure, ignore it, decide it on the basis of the facts of the case. And I mean, first of all, I would not comment as to whether there's any political pressure or people keep speaking a lot about it, but I mean, it may be a political pressure of the own views of the judge. That also could be. I mean, judges also human beings, they may be having views. But whether politicians put pressure on, I mean, that is something which I would not be subscribing to.
Okay. Sir, the next question is, sir, women in law, are they breaking glass ceiling or are they breaking through? So as you have mentioned, like the numbers of the judges are, the ratio is very low. So has the number, as per a judge, a female point of view, has it been increasing in the Indian judiciary?
Like if you see 20 years back or maybe 40 years back when I was a student, then the female-male ratio in the university in law course would be 10% to 90%. And today it is more than 50% girls who are coming, right? So correspondingly, the ratio of judges in the judiciary would also be increasing gradually. I mean, I would not say that you should pick up a lady to become a judge merely because she is a lady. Now you all are coming. I mean, today I can see out of 6 there are 3 ladies and 3 girls and 3 boys. Earlier it never used to be like that. Earlier there would be 10 out of 10, 9 would be boys and 1 girl if it is there. So now girls are taking up this profession. So automatically, gradually, they'll also come up. I mean, in the law judiciary, which of course, subordinate judiciary, I would say, that there are more than, I have experience in UP, Karnataka, Orissa, 3 high courts where I have been. Now there are more than 50% girls who are coming and qualifying. So why should one shouldn't give any negative marks because you're a girl, you should not be coming. You should be coming on your merits and you are coming. Girls are coming. Now in the subordinate judiciary, there are more than 50% girls who are coming. In your universities and law universities and law schools, more than 50% are girls, which I find. At least 50% are there. I mean, my son is done from Jodhpur. There were more than 50% in his batch. So gradually they are coming, and of course, why shouldn't the girls be judges? They should be.
So there is a very common saying that when you become a judge, your social life is compromised. So, sir, is this a myth or is this the reality?
Yeah, that's a reality. I mean, it is compromised. Some judges would say that now I'll not meet anybody. It's a total compromise. But I would say that one should, to know what's going on in the world, you must not be totally cut off from society. You must be, but after all, merely meeting a person doesn't mean that it's going to influence your judgments, but you get a better view of what is happening in the society.
So personally, sir, आपको लगता है आपकी social life काफी compromise हुई उसके बाद when you
Yes, and now I am enjoying that I am a free person. I am a free person for 20 years plus. As a judge, you couldn't move out much. You couldn't go to various places and various social gatherings. But yes, I continued to meet people. Like there was no restriction that. So I would not say that I was totally cut off, but yes, restricted.
and sir, was there an increase in stress? Like you felt more stressed when you were a lawyer or when you became a judge?
Stress is both sides. It is, as I always say, grass is greener on the other side of the fence. You always feel, as when you become a judge, you feel that now you're more not that relaxed. Earlier, you were more relaxed. That time, one used to feel. So stress is always there. If you are serious in life, you're going to. There's no escape.
To ask in subordinate courts, new judges are coming up. What advice would you give them, and also what advice would you give to judicial aspirants who are preparing for judiciary
Preparing for judiciary.
and the new judges which are coming in subordinate courts? Like, what advice would you give them?
I mean, one would definitely say work hard, be fair, and sit on time and decide.
So
Do your
let's
work.
say practical experience. From practical experience, what would you give the advice to a person coming up in subordinate courts?
Well, when whichever, whether subordinate courts or higher judiciary, whichever you join, you have to be careful that you're not influenced by your personal opinions. Like every person has some kind of, maybe just let's say every person may have some political leanings. Some may be left, some may be right, some may be center, but all those things should not affect your work in the judiciary, because you should see that when the case comes, it's the case which you have to decide, not what your mind says that.
So, sir, speaking of interns, in terms of like judicial internship, what experience would I gain from a judicial internship and from a, let's say, a litigation internship or a corporate internship?
I think that only a person who's doing internship can tell you, but experience you gain from judicial internship is totally different, and from corporate internship is different, but both are very useful and valuable. And also, it depends what the person wants to do. Like if he wants to get into litigation, then this thing. But one should internship, as I said earlier, internship you should do in all spheres so that you may know what exactly is going to suit you. Yes.
So you have public dealings and with dealings with the interns as well. So what are the qualities as a student or as an intern I should possess and polish for giving us an edge that actually helps us stand out from the crowd, that you would remember that an intern that I worked with was very good?
Yes, that's right. That's right. One, the availability of the intern. If one is supposed to be there at a particular time, then one should be there, so that when I get to work, I know at 6 o'clock if I call for this person, then he'll definitely be there, because there are certain things which you have in mind that when you sit in office, you will get these things done. Now, if the person is not there, then points are cut. That number one. Yeah, of course. And number two, the intern should also know the way the judge wants to work. Like I would say, I would like a date chart. As a lawyer, also, I was very particular, and as a judge, also. So, if a date chart is given, then the files are maybe 40 files you have to read in for the next day, and you can't practically read the entire files. So, if you have 4 interns, 5 interns who are looking into it, so they can just summarize the facts and give a date chart so that with the page numbers, like everybody has a different style. Like I would like page number so and so important points. So immediately you flip to that page and know where the important things are. So that actually cuts down your and for the intern, it is a learning for the person that that intern is going through the entire file. He or she has to go through only 5-7 files, whereas the cases are 30-35. So those 5-7 files, the intern should be thorough so that one can he can learn something from that.
तो सर ऐसा कभी हुआ है कि लेट्स से किसी इंटर्न ने आपकी बहुत हेल्प कर दी केस में, लाइक कुछ ऐसा पॉइंट निकाल दिया जिसकी वजह से लाइक आपको आसानी हो गई जजमेंट देने में?
That's right.
ऐसा होता है?
That's right.
फर्स्ट टाइम जज का एक्सपीरियंस,
हाँ
फर्स्ट टाइम जज इंटर्नशिप करते हुए जज का एक्सपीरियंस?
नहीं, जज का एक्सपीरियंस नहीं. You just helping out the judge. I mean, taking case law. I mean, maybe the lawyers have not pointed out latest case law which has been delivered, judgment which has been delivered recently, and either deliberately or maybe out of oversight, the lawyers have not pointed out. If the intern points out, then of course, and when you discuss, maybe you get a particular line which is helpful in giving the judgment. I mean, that doesn't mean that he's giving the judgment. He's watching the case in the court arguments and discussing thereafter. So, case law and latest rulings and all, it's quite helpful.
Speaking of lawyers, we have seen many lawyers in court. So, what do you think? What is the most underrated skill a lawyer could have, whether it could be in etiquette, courtroom etiquette, or in his workflow in his organization, presenting his arguments? What is the most underrated skill you look for in a lawyer while you're sitting on the bench?
First, the lawyer should always be very polite. If you are very assertive or rude, no judge will like it. Number one. You have to be, of course, well prepared and all. Then what normally lawyers make a slight mistake, that maybe that they have prepared 4 points which are good in their case. According to them, A is the best point, B is the second best, C is the third, and D is the last. Now, what they start off with A, and maybe it doesn't appeal to the judge. That point doesn't appeal to the judge, but they'll keep on insisting. So that's not good advocacy. If it doesn't appeal to the judge, switch on to B, then switch on to C. And maybe if C, which is a weak point, the judge is attracted to it, then you convince the judge on that point and come back to A. Then he'll appreciate that's advocacy. So many a times lawyer may think that this is the most important point, but it doesn't appeal to the judge. So advocacy, where you have to keep reading the mind of the judge, and judge is also a human being, as I say. So you have to appeal to his what he likes. If he likes the B argument, B point, then you emphasize on that and get an order on B point rather than insisting A point is very good. So lawyer has to be very accommodative and should actually, that's the best judge. Best lawyer is always who can read the mind of the judge, which way the judge wants the arguments to be.
So, it is a really funny question, but how do you read the mind of a judge? How do you actually, develop that social skill
That
and then act according to it?
That I really can't say that as a lawyer, one used to, some judges, you go to, most important thing for a lawyer is that you should sit in court and watch every different courts every court has every judge has his own singularities. Some judge might like that you are very well dressed and you start off your arguments with "May it please your lordship" and all. Please, then why not do it? If some judge may like that you come up with 1 page, 2 page brief submissions and present it, or brief date chart and present it. Why not do it in that court? So, as a lawyer, as a young lawyer, I would always suggest that instead of sitting in the lunchroom or coffee shop and having coffee, sit in the court. Every judge has different angularities. One judge may like a particular thing, the other judge may like another thing. You must know when you're going to that particular judge, talk about, do what he wants.
And that wraps it up. This was the first episode of the Lex Lumina podcast. I would like to extend big thanks to our guest for the day, Honorable Mr. Justice Vineet Saran. Sir imparted great wisdom and knowledge upon all of us. We hope to see you in the next one. Until then, have a great day.
Majority of our viewers or our listeners are students of law. So what is one message that you would like to give them?
Relax, be happy, and work hard.